I hear the president right now speaking right now. The President Trump is about to depart for France to attend the G7 summit. He's speaking before boarding Air Force One. Let's listen in right now.
I think it'll be very productive. Seeing a lot of the leaders who are friends of mine for the most part. Wouldn't say in 100% of the cases, but for the most part. And I think we're doing very well. Our economy is doing great. We're having a little spat with China, and we'll win it. We put a lot of tariffs on China today. As you know, they put some on us. We put a lot on them. We're up to about $550 billion. They've been hitting us for many, many years for over $500 billion a year, taking out of our country much more than $500 billion a year. So we want that stopped. Okay? Well, we'll see what happens. At this moment, they want to do that, so we'll see what happens. They want to have talks, so I'm always open to talk. Well, in 1977, we had an act passed, a National Emergency Act. I have the absolute right to do that. We'll see how that goes, but I have the absolute right. 1977, check it out. No, I think our tariffs are very good for us. We're taking in tens of billions of dollars. China's paying for it. They're, as you know, manipulating their currency. I think that our tariffs are working out very well for us. People don't understand that yet. At the same time, China's had the worst year probably in anywhere from 30 to 50 years, their worst year, and they want to make a deal. No, I'm not happy with Jay Powell. I don't think he's doing a good job at all. I don't think he's much of a chess player, but I've got him, so, you know, that's what I have. That's what I have. What can I tell you? He's not much of a chess player. I'm going to see Prime Minister Abe. I look forward to it. He's a great gentleman. He's a great friend of mine.
Military intelligence sharing with Japan. Are you worried about that?
We're going to see what happens. President Moon, also a very good friend of mine. And we'll see what happens with South Korea.
So are you worried about
No, I don't think so. I think that we have a very good relationship. We'll see what happens. That could always change, but we'll see what happens. Kim Jong-un has been, you know, pretty straight with me, I think. And we're going to see what's going on. We're going to see what's happening. He likes testing missiles, but we never restricted short-range missiles. We'll see what happens. Many nations test those missiles. We tested a very big one the other day, as you probably noticed. Not at all. Not at all. Because if you look at from November 9th, the day after the election, we're up 50% or more. We're up many, many points. We were at about 16 or 17,000. We're at 25,000. So don't tell me about 600 points. Say it. Well, I hope she does really well. And our thoughts and prayers are with her. It's a very serious situation. I'm hoping she's going to be fine. She's pulled through a lot. She's strong, very tough. But we wish her well, very well. Yeah, I am. I don't like what France did. They put a technology tax on our tech companies. And it's not that I'm the biggest fan of the tech companies, because, as you know, they were very much opposed to the Republicans, and they are very much opposed. Somebody came in the other day, said the election that we had in 16 with Hillary Clinton, that it could have cost me anywhere from 2,600, from 2,600,000 votes to, I think he went up to close to either 10 or maybe even 15 million votes. So I'm not a big fan of the tech companies, but I don't want foreign companies and foreign countries, I don't want them doing anything having to do with taxing unfairly our companies. Those are great American companies, and frankly, I don't want France going out and taxing our companies. Very unfair. And if they do that, we'll be taxing their wine or doing something else. We'll be taxing their wine like they've never seen before. I don't like it. That's for us to tax them. It's not for France to tax them. Other than that, I have a very good relationship with, as you know, with Macron, as you say, and I think we're going to have a very good couple of days. I look forward to being in France. Let me tell you, you know exactly what I meant. It was sarcasm, it was joking, we were all smiling, and a question like that is just fake news. You're just a faker.
Mr. President, reparations request. Are you interested in changing your ideas about giving reparations to African Americans in this country?
Well, I never stated my ideas, so you tell me what my ideas were. Never stated them. They're your ideas.
Okay.
Well, so no. Don't put a question like that. I've never stated my ideas, so don't put the question like that. Say it.
You want Powell to resign. You want Powell to resign.
Do I want him to resign? Let me put it this way. If he did, I wouldn't stop him. He's a very good competitor, but we're going to win.
Why did you decide not to pursue your foreign aid cuts? Stop it for the foreign aid cuts. Why did you decide not?
We're going to be spending that money in different ways. But rather than renegotiating everything again, I'm going to do it the way I just said. We'll be distributing that money differently. Called me, a wonderful woman. We had a great conversation. We have a very good relationship with Denmark, and we agreed to speak later. But she was very nice. She put a call in, and I appreciated it very much. How far are you willing to push China? Look, China's been hurting our country for 30 years with the money they've been taking out. Other presidents should have done something about it, and they should have done it a long time ago, whether it was Clinton or Bush or Obama, any of them. They should have done something about it, and they didn't. I'm doing it, and I have no choice, because we're not going to lose close to $1 trillion a year to China, and China understands that. I hope that with President Xi, I have a good relationship, but they understand we're not going to do it. And this is more important than anything else right now, just about, that we're working on. We have to make sure that our taxpayer, look, we have helped rebuild China like nobody else, and they've done a great job. And I don't blame China. I blame our presidents, our representatives, past administrations for allowing that to happen. It's a disgrace.
Well, I want to go to CNN Sarah Westwood at the White House right now. Sarah, the president really not holding back on his criticism of federal chairman Powell tonight at all.
That's right, Lauren. President Trump saying there that he called Jerome Powell, quote, not much of a chess player, and also saying he wouldn't stop Powell if Powell were to choose to resign from the Federal Reserve. So really echoing a lot of the criticism that we heard throughout the day and earlier this week and the week before as he's attacking Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, his favorite economic scapegoat. President Trump also turning to this trade dispute with China. We saw those retaliatory tariffs implemented by China this morning. President Trump, though, still projecting confidence that the U.S. will prevail in its trade negotiations with China. Those have obviously not been going well. The president tweeting earlier today that he was going to raise tariffs on Chinese goods starting on October 1st. The president also saying that he plans to bring up with French President Emmanuel Macron when he gets to the G7 the taxes that France has imposed on American tech companies and the revenue that they raise in France. That's something that our colleague Pam Brown reported earlier today, that the president was going to confront the French president over. President Trump saying today he's really not happy with the fact that those tariffs are being levied on French technology companies, American technology companies. He even went through great pains to say that he is not himself a fan of the tech companies, as you just heard, but he said he didn't want any foreign government taxing American companies. And he also said that if French President Emmanuel Macron were to proceed with those taxes on technology companies, then he would threaten retaliatory tariffs on French wine, something, Lauren, that he has threatened to do before.
Well, the president said he does have the right to tell businesses not to deal with China. What was that all about?
That's right, Lauren. We're going to have to fact check that. He cited some sort of, he called it a national emergency rule that was implemented in the 70s, or it was last exercised in the 70s. That's what he pointed to when he was justifying his tweet earlier today, when he said that he hereby ordered all American companies to start looking for some kind of alternative to doing business with or in China. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to how the president might think he has the authority to make that kind of decree. He also, by the way, ordered mail carriers to start singling out any packages that might contain fentanyl. So this was the president starting to push harder on China before he implemented his tariffs earlier today.
Sarah, thank you for that great reporting. What a press conference the president just gave. President Trump talking about trade with China, his relationship with Kim Jong-un, wishing Justice Ginsburg well, and the 2016 election. And though he canceled a trip to Denmark over the prime minister's unwillingness to talk about selling Greenland, he says he's got a good relationship with her. We'll discuss all of this next. Breaking news, President Trump en route tonight to the G7 summit in France, speaking to reporters before boarding Air Force One, touching on everything from the trade war with China, his unhappiness with the Fed chairman, and trade issues with France that he'll bring up with the French president at the G7. Back with me now, Patrick Healy, Catherine Rampell, and Michael D'Antonio. Catherine, his deal with China, what's going on?
There was a lot of very confused misinformation there. It was like China is stealing $500 billion from us. Maybe it's $1 trillion. Of course, we are sending China $500 billion worth of cash, but we're getting stuff in exchange for that cash. I mean, we have a trade deficit, but there's stuff being traded. He mentioned that it's China's worst year, which is a weird thing to be celebrating, given that, again, we have these rising threats of recession here, which is partly due to contagion effects from China, from other countries that are suffering economically. And he also said that, other presidents should have done something about China. No one was willing to, except he conveniently left out the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was largely about holding China in check. That was under Obama. One of Trump's first acts as president was to pull us out of it.
Patrick, Powell is no Bobby Fischer, apparently.
Yeah, not such a chess player. The president sounded like a kid who is playing games and making up his own rules as he goes along. Jay Powell is not a good chess player. President Xi is a great competitor. Maybe we'll open talks with them again. If you look at the Dow, we're still up 50% since 2016. So he can go up 600 points, he can go down 600 points. But it's like he's playing this sort of 2.5-year game with other countries, with the American people, and just sort of making up the rules. And it just sounded so much like he believes that he needs to fight and negotiate and compete with President Xi, and sees himself as having powers that are somehow equal to the Chinese premier, that he has the absolute power to order things that may be well and good in China, but are different how Americans work.
And he played his old favorite refrain, that song about 2016. Did you hear that, Michael?
Sure. Did you catch that the tech companies were somehow responsible for 2.4 million or maybe 10 million or maybe 15 million votes being misapplied to Hillary Clinton instead of the president? This is more word salad, but just a different day, a different serving of it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Either way, there's tax on wine coming, people. Prepare yourself on a Friday night. Just ahead.